Hello, I'm Lauradon, a research professor in Human Resources Management and Organizational Behavior at ISG Business School of Paris. I would like to present you this module dedicated to feedback, an important social skills to develop for tutors and migrant entrepreneurs. In this video, we will see why it is important to give feedback. What does that mean? What are the main characteristics? What are the main tips to give useful feedback? And finally, how culture can influence the way of giving and receiving feedback. Why is it important to give feedback? Recent Gallup data in 2022-21 show that 84% of employees strongly agreed that receiving regular and meaningful feedback increases their engagement at work. It's also essential for companies to improve their performance and for employees to develop their competencies. Feedback can be viewed as a type of assessment, especially a qualitative assessment of employee performance and behavior. The goals of feedback are boosting motivation, performance, recognition, and allow employees to progress and rectify errors or unappreciated behavior. Now, let's define precisely feedback and its main characteristics. Feedback can be defined as the action of giving information to someone after observing her or his behavior or task in order to make her or him progress. Giving meaningful feedback means giving information about a past situation in the present moment in order to influence the future. Feedback can be individual, taking place between the manager and his employee or between peers. It can be in group when the manager wants to assess the whole team. Feedback can be conveyed face-to-face or via email application if you use remote work. It can be positive feedback or corrective feedback. In the case of positive feedback, you recognize employees' strengths, talents, and accomplishments. You are telling them what they're doing correctly and should continue to do. In the case of corrective feedback, your objective here is to prevent the behavior from happening again or to improve the performance of your employee. It is often corrective negative feedback that creates problems for both the giver and the receiver. It's more delicate to formulate. Now let's see 5 tips to give useful feedbacks, especially corrective feedback. First, prepare the feedback. Choose an appropriate moment where your employee is available and alone. Don't give corrective feedback in front of other colleagues. Time the feedback as close as possible to the event or the behavior. Second, be specific and objective about what you heard or saw. Describe the situation with precise nouns and verbs without using adjectives or blur words. For example, instead of saying you are unreliable, say yesterday you say you will give the numbers at 2 p.m., but I still don't have them. It's the same for positive feedback. Third, show consequences. Explain exactly how that data point affected you, the team or the company. Because I didn't receive your numbers, I was blocked and I couldn't finish my report. 4. End on an open-ended question to find a solution together. It's important to involve the person in efforts to find solutions and in the implementation of the action plan. You may also discuss the resources needed and review objectives to achieve. 5. And finally, also seek feedback from your peers and your staff to show that you are also happy to receive suggestions. As migrant entrepreneurs, you will evolve in different cultural contexts and work with people coming from different countries, which implies different style of communication and different ways of giving and receiving feedback. In her book, The Cultural Map, Erin Meyer identified 2 different communication styles, low context versus high context. In culture where low context communication style prevail, people assume a low level of shared contexts. It means that little implicit knowledge links speaker and listener. In low-context countries, like the United States or Netherlands, effective communication must be simple, clear, and explicit in order to effectively convey the message. In contrast, in high-context countries such as the United Kingdom or Japan, people tend to communicate implicitly and rely heavily on the context. As migrant entrepreneurs, it's essential to adapt your communication style for feedback. If you work with people from lower context culture, may your suggest to be as transparent and specific as possible. In contrast, if you work with people from higher context cultures, Mayer recommends listening actively for what is meant instead of what's being said. Besides communication styles, Mayer pointed different ways of giving feedback, especially corrective feedback across cultures. She outlined a spectrum ranging from direct negative feedback to indirect negative feedback. In cultures providing direct negative feedback, negative messages stand alone, not softened by positive ones to avoid mixed messages. The feedback is delivered frankly and honestly. Typical examples include Dutch and French cultures. In contrast, in cultures delivering indirect negative feedback, it's done in a soft, subtle, and diplomatic manner. Typical examples include British and Asian cultures. As migrant entrepreneurs, your challenge will be to adapt your approach if and when needed. By taking into account of each person's cultural differences and expectation, you can respect people's sensitivities and avoid offending those you're dealing with without needing to drastically change your style. By making the implicit explicit and talking about communication norms and preferences, because you can never fully anticipate the norms and expectations of a particular group or individual. I hope you appreciated the video. If you want to go deeper into the subject, I suggest you to watch and read complementary materials.